Hello and welcome, I'm your CodeMonkey. In this lecture we're going to synchronize the player animations. This is actually extremely simple to do in Netcode for Game Objects, so this is actually going to be a super quick lecture. Okay, so here we have our players, and both the host up here and the client down here, both of them can move, and the movement is indeed correctly being synchronized, so it's all good. Except only the movement is synchronizing. So as I move this one, up here it's playing the animation, but down there, nope, no animation. So let's fix this. And in order to fix this, once again we have two options. The default way is using the built-in component, the network animator. So let's go inside the player prefab, and over here we've got the player visual. This is the game object that has the animator, so we can add a component, and let's add a network animator. This one takes an animator field, so let's just drag this animator, put it on there. Yep, there it is. Now this will automatically synchronize the animator and all of its parameters. Now before we test, let's just do one very important thing. Over here on the player animator, this is the script that we made in the single player game. Over here for this script, we need to make sure that this one only runs on the owner, otherwise this script will then override the network animator. So instead of mono behavioral, let's make this a network behavior. Let's add unity.netcode, and down here on update, if not is owner. So if not is owner, just return. Okay? And by the way, this object doesn't need a network object because there's already one on the parent player game object. Okay, so like this, we've got the network animator, so like this, it should work. So let's test. So up here, if we move on the host, and if there you go, look at that, the animations are indeed being synchronized. Okay, so that's great. All we really had to do was just add this component, and the entire animator state is already perfectly synchronized, so that's awesome. However, if I go over here onto the client, and as I move it, let's see, and nope, over there we do not have the animations being synchronized. Again, we have the exact same issue that we had previously with the network transform. The network animator, just like the network transform, is server authoritative. So it will only work if the server is the one sending out the commands, and it will not work when the client is the one trying to send out the commands. That is why over here the host does synchronize, but the client does not. So again, we have our usual two options. We could modify this code to make it server auth, basically use some server RPCs to tell the server what state the animator should be in, or alternatively, we can make the network animator client auth. Let's go with that approach. And again, the docs have a nice simple script to make this. So if we go into the multiplayer docs, if we go over here into Netcode for Game Objects, then under components and under the network animator, over here, if we scroll down, we can see, yep, the owner authoritative mode. So if the client is the owner, which it is on the player, if so, then this becomes a client authoritative mode. And you've got the script, and literally is just this, super simple. So let's go ahead and copy this. Then back in Unity, over here, let's create a new C# script for the owner network animator. And over here, let's just select everything and paste the code. Okay, that's it, super simple. Now let's go inside the player prefab, and over here on the visual, let's get rid of the network animator and instead add the other one, the owner network animator. This has the exact same field, so let's just paste it. And just like this, all of our animations should already be perfectly synced. So let's just go outside, save the prefab, and make a build. So up here is the host, and as I move it, yep, the host is indeed synchronized. And down here on the client, if I move it, and yep, the client is also nice and synchronized. Alright, awesome! So as you can see, it really is this simple to synchronize animations in multiplayer. You just add a component, and that's really it. So with that, we now have the movement and the animations, both of it working perfectly synchronized. These two are pretty simple thanks to the built-in components. And now we can start handling how to synchronize some proper game logic, like for example the delivery manager, and that's exactly what we're going to do in the next lecture. Hey there, here's a quick intermission. So how are you doing? Are you enjoying the course so far? Are you having any trouble with anything? Is there something you didn't understand? Multiplayer can be complex, but once you understand it, I think this toolset is actually pretty easy to use. Just make sure you fully understand the differences between all the types, so what is a server and what is a client. If you get that part, then everything starts to become pretty straightforward. So from that, let me ask you what has been the most challenging part so far. Remember that I'm always active in the comments answering all the questions every day, so if there's anything you need extra clarification, go ahead and ask and I'll do my best to help. Also remember to check out the course website. I will keep that page updated with frequently asked questions, so you can see what others have asked for each lecture. And you can also download the project files at each point and compare with your own. So keep that page open on a second tab and check it out every time you start watching a lecture. I hope you're enjoying the course and already learned quite a few things. Go ahead, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Okay, so let's go to the next lecture.